Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to this week. And let me tell you what a week it has been. It is good to be back here once again on our Sunday. And this being the first Sunday of the month, that means we got ourselves some free memberships to throw out there. Now, I did drop the first one before the show entered. So any of you in here who take a look at that, and if you look at the green box underneath it, if you see a gray box that says something along the lines that you have to hit this button to turn on rewards or turn on winning, just do that. Because if you see that gray box, that means that you're not allowed to win. So you have to turn it on. I don't know why it's not something that's on by default, because who doesn't want to win something that's free? But yeah, that happened. So, of course, to get that box up early, I had to give away our first free membership. And Ian the Gardener, our Ian actually won that one. It wasn't Ian the Gardener. And that's fantastic. All right. You guys are just look at this. Everybody is in here nice and early. Jonathan in really early saying, I'm ready, followed by Vix. Wow, we line up early around here like the ones looking for a family doc in Kingston. Oh dear, that's actually kind of funny. And yes, Ian, you won. That is absolutely fantastic. Prairie Investor in the house with a good afternoon, Banana Bread Brigade. And also a congratulations to Ian for winning that first free membership of the day. We got Stan in the house. Quick old happy Sunday. We got Terry. Congratulations, Ian. Yet more proof that good things do happen very occasionally. Lisa's in the house. We got Jill in the house. We've got Sammer in the house. Holy banana bread. We got Mario in with a good afternoon to everyone. Trevor's in the house. We got Mary in the house. And Vic is back. Vic is back trying to decipher opening image of bull and bear. Hey, it's just the bull and the bear looking at the melting snow because guess what? Spring's going to be here in a couple of weeks. So that's pretty darn cool. Carlos is in the house with a hello, just unshoveling 25 centimeters of snow. Oh, yikes. I'm trying to think where that amount of snow fell in Canada. Unless you're in California, if you're one of our American followers, I know they got a lot of snow, but let me know. Let me know where that snow is. Vic says, we'll call him Ian the Investor. Okay, so we have Ian the Investor opposed to Ian the Gardener. Perfect. Jay is in the house. Hello there, Jay. Always good to see you. And Vic says, I dropped like a K Pro times 100 shares. And let's see, Edmonton. Is that where the snow is? Is there snow in Edmonton? Holy banana bread. Vic says EQB on sale. Yeah, EQ Bank definitely did not do very well with their earnings, and they have fallen quite a bit. I still have full faith in them, though. So, yeah, they're definitely on sale. If you're looking to get into EQ Bank, this is the time. This is the time for sure. The prairies. The prairies. Snow on the prairies. It's actually going to be really warm here in Ottawa next week. We're getting a couple of days up around 15 degrees Celsius. So that's pretty darn good. David is calling us. David is chatting with us from Prince Edward Island. Beautiful little island. Jordan's in the house. Hello, Jordan. Always good to see you. Always great to see Jordan. Sammer wants to know if Mario lives in Sarnia. We got a lot of people who live around the Sarnia area. I believe Jordan's in the Sarnia area. Jackie is in the house. No snow here. Crocuses are blooming in London. Awesome. I love IFC. Terry says, that bull don't look well at all, and I can see its ribs. Well, that's because the bear's been running for so long, but the bull's ready to eat. The bull is absolutely ready to put on some weight. Vic says, Jackie, are one bedrooms really 1,800 in the Forest City? I know Montreal is actually, Montreal, of all the big cities in Canada, they probably have the cheapest rent out of all of the really big cities. So that's not too shabby. Mario, SJ is on sale. I picked some up. Yeah, I saw that. Holy cow, they went down a little bit. Prairie says, no snow in Winnipeg yet. Okay, well, let's hope you don't see too much more left this season. But the prairies can sometimes get snow pretty deep into the year. And Mario says, Sammer, I live in Ottawa, home of the Parliament. There we go. There we go. Mario's another Ottawa. I don't even know what we call people who live in Ottawa, and I live here. Ottawatonian, maybe? Mario, maybe you know. Maybe you know. I don't, but maybe you do. Vic says, are the Jets leaving Winnipeg again? I heard rumblings of that. I have heard rumblings of that. All right, before we go any further, you know what I'm gonna, normally I just drop the 5. I just say, here you go. Here's your memberships. I'm gonna spread them out. I'm just gonna drop them one here, one there. We'll pepper them through the, the actual show. And speaking of doing that, let's, give me 1 second here. Let me pepper the first one in right now. So there we go. Here we go. It's coming. It's processing. Who's going to win? I don't know. We'll find out here in a moment. And Jordan is saying, yes, I'm Sarnia born. Nice. And Prairie has his eyes on Stella Jones this week. Very, very cool. Ryan M. was gifted a membership this time around. Don't worry, guys. We got lots more to come. We're going to just pepper them throughout the show. So congratulations, Ryan. Jackie says, regarding the rent in London, it is indeed crazy here, and it is very hard to find a place. They are building a lot of rental places, but they seem to be luxury rentals. That's actually funny. I have noticed that a lot of these programs, especially coming from the Fed and different governments, they're not looking at low-end housing. They're looking more for the middle-class housing. So, and middle class, I mean, depending on what you consider middle class, you can be looking at some pretty hefty rents. So definitely something to look into. Vic says, snow in sale. Or snowflake, I meant. Maybe. Prairie says, I don't follow the Jets, but I think I overheard it's just all talk. Maybe. I mean, Winnipeg, those of you who, whether you follow sports or not, you're probably aware Winnipeg had the Jets, lost the Jets, and got the Jets back, although technically it's 2 different teams, but they fought hard to get franchise back in Winnipeg, and Winnipeg can support. I think Winnipeg will have no problem supporting them. So let's hope. Let's hope they don't leave. Last thing we want is the Americans getting another team. Let's keep them in Canada. Now, if they do move, Quebec City has been begging to get the Nordiques back. So maybe that's an option, but I don't know. Vic says, Winnipeg hates Batman. And Sammer says, I'd like to be middle class. Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's all strive to be middle class. Or maybe even higher. Who knows? That's kind of one of the roads that investing can certainly take you to is get your class going a little bit. Before we jump into our first news article, just want to quickly mention the good old Blossom, as you can see up there above the bull's head. Blossom is that social media app that is designed for investors. It's actually was created by Max and good old Brandon out in BC. So I think everybody here hopefully knows who Brandon Beavis is. It's a fantastic app. It's a great place to go to connect, to talk about different things. It's even a little more active than our Discord, if you can believe that. As our Discord, pretty active. I love how you guys have taken to the Discord. But with Blossom, you have the option when you get over there, you can hook up your, like if you have Wealthsimple, like most of the Canadian ones don't work, but Wealthsimple does. So if you have Wealthsimple, you can hook your broker up to it and show it, or you can enter things in manually. That's what I do. I just enter it in manually. But the beautiful thing is it's a great way to talk to a ton of people that are just like you. And it's also a great way to talk to a lot of the Canadian financial YouTubers like myself or Brandon Beavis or Canadian in a T-shirt who now no longer wears glasses because he got eye surgery. Just, all of that fun stuff. And I will mention somebody here, was it last week or the week before, said, hey, now that Blossom has started to bring in Americans, can we get like a flag or something next to our name so we know which country? So I actually did have a meeting with Brandon Beavis on Monday. I brought that up, and so that is now in the works. So we will look forward to that coming up soon. Another thing that has changed with Blossom for people who, who are already over there, is they've changed the way it presents stories. Because before it basically just said chronological, but now it's actually got the algorithm, the Blossom algorithm is now moving stories that are more popular up to the top. So when you come into Blossom, you can see the stuff you want to see and not necessarily have to see everything that pops up. So just one little thing. Anyway, check it out. There's a link down below. All you got to do is head over. If you do go over there, follow me. I'll follow you right back because I do want to see what you guys are posting. And I would absolutely love to make some comments on some of your posts. So let's just do that. Blossomverse, everybody, meet you over there. All of that fun stuff. Okay. Whew. Now, Vic says, I want to be stealth wealthy. Nothing wrong with that. There's a lot of people who are really wealthy do not look the part because there's a difference between being wealthy and looking wealthy. A lot of people who look wealthy are basically up to their eyeballs in debt to do that. There's no need to. If you really want to be wealthy, it's like, what? Don't look like you own anything. It also helps you from getting robbed too. If you're out on the street and you don't look like you have 2 cents to put together, nobody's going to rob you or, mug you or whatever they call it nowadays. Mary says, love Blossom. Absolutely. Good stuff. I've seen Mary over there more than once. Jordan says, we recently had a low rent housing built here. Rent starting at $1,550 for a bachelor's apartment plus utilities. Low income like me has about $1,000 to spend on rent and utilities. What to do? Yeah, that's going to be that situation. A lot of people who are really low income are put in that situation where they have to have a roommate. They don't have a choice because there's no way they're going to be able to make up that rent. And that's talking about a 1-bedroom. Like, it's once you go to a 2-bedroom, I'm sure the price goes up a lot more. And if you've only got 2 people who are making $1,000 a month, it's difficult. It's not the way it used to be. That's for sure. All right. Prairie is congratulating Ryan again. We've got Dimitri from Mountain of Inspiration over here saying, yeah, it is a Sunday, meaning Dr. Mountain is live. There we go. Sammer, housing in Canada is just ridiculous. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you even look at, there was a YouTube video. I can't remember who it was by. But they were looking at some of the low-end houses in some of our big cities. And the amount that you had to buy these houses, like $1 million shacks, pretty much, you could buy like these mansions over in Europe for the same price. It's just ridiculous. All right. Thumbs up. Yeah, absolutely. Guys, hit the like button. If you haven't hit it yet, hit it. Let's send out that algorithm. Let them know I'm live. Push this out to a whole whack of people. See if we can get a flood in here. That would be fantastic. Hello, everyone in chat from Dimitri. And Vic says, I wasn't even invited to that big wedding in India. I could have met a lot of rich friends. Was there I didn't even know there was a big wedding in India. So I was completely out of the loop. Oh, look at this. We got ourselves a new channel member, not even somebody who wanted it. It's Jackie. Hello, Jackie. Welcome to the channel membership. It's awesome to have you. It's awesome, awesome, awesome. And it's a great way to support the channel. Love the channel members. Vic says, hit thumbs up at 9:08. Yeah, Vic was here pretty much as soon as I created the live stream. Vic was here. It's actually funny. I was looking on Friday because I had the thumbnail already. I had the news, all my pictures put together. And I was like, should I just put it up right now? But I was worried that poor Vic would just be sitting there for the entire weekend waiting. So I didn't. I decided I'd hold off until today. And Mountain of Inspiration, good old Dimitri is saying hello to Vic. Hopefully Vic's one of your followers, Dimitri. Yeah, all right. Let's get to our first news piece. We'll do our first news piece and then we'll give away another membership. How does that sound? All right, let's pull these up here. I got brand new pictures, of course, this week. All right. The sluggish Canadian GDP. And yes, that is a moose on a snail. For those of you who are maybe not seeing it very well because you're watching this on a phone. And the moose has a toque, a Canadian toque. So always a good thing. So our GDP data has come out, came out on Friday. So the fourth quarter, basically it rose by 1%. So our GDP went up 1%, which is great, considering they actually had predicted it to go up basically 0.8%. So we did beat expectations. Now, our third quarter had actually shrunk. So the third quarter GDP was down by 0.5%. So because this GDP is positive, it means that we have averted a technical recession. So no technical recession for Canada at this point in time. The monthly GDP, basically, it was pretty flat in December. It came in below consensus. It came in at zero. Everybody thought it was going to come in at 0.2 up to the upside, but it came in exactly as well. You can't get flatter than zero. So that definitely happened. We have seen some decent growth and slowing inflation, and that's what the Bank of Canada wants to see. But here's the thing. Does this mean we're looking at our rate cuts coming a little bit earlier? Some people think we are. Some people think, yeah, rate cuts are going to come a little bit faster. They're not going to wait until the June that I was talking about. I'm still on the June fence. I'm going to say I'm not changing my mind on that. But there are basically, I think right now the market's pricing in about a 30% chance for April. So that's kind of cool. The whole thing, though, about this report is even though we did that 1%, the overall, our GDP, our economy has been very lackluster. And it basically does make it clear to us that the Canadian economy, it is struggling. No doubt about it. Even in a 1% growth scenario, which we got, which is better than we were expecting, but we're still kind of sluggish. A lot of the reason, too, is if you look beyond our normal GDP and look at real GDP per capita, so that's basically looking at the population, that is still falling. So that's one concern people have. It has been declining. Basically, a lot of the reason for that is all of the surging population. We're talking immigration, bringing a lot of people in. That's causing real GDP to fall. So it's very, very interesting. We also had some consumer and survey businesses. I'm saying that absolutely wrong. We had some consumer and business surveys. All right. They basically are pointing to further weakness ahead. Sentiment overall is remaining pretty soft between, with consumers and businesses. Taking together, I still will say, I'm still, like I said, firmly on June. I think June is going to be when we're going to see that first rate hike. It won't be before then. It'll definitely be June. All right, let's get back to the chat here for a moment. Vic says, I'm president of North Alberta Mountain Finance Local Chapter 4. Really? I didn't realize we had a local chapter in Alberta. But yeah, absolutely. Vic, you can chair the meetings at the local chapter. Keep them in line for me. Gary is in the house. Hello, Gary. It's so good to see you. Hi, Candace. So I cashed in all my ETH to pay off my truck. And now I have regret that I should have held. I made a lot of profit. Yeah, it's kind of that thing right now. We are in a position where you can look at the profits that are happening with crypto, but we know things are going to go higher. And it hurts to take profit now. But at the same time, it is your truck. And if you wanted to pay it off, hopefully you've got a little bit more still sitting there. And I think that you probably do, because I thought you had quite a bit, Gary. Paul is in the house with a good old hi. And we got a super sticker. We got Jackie in here with a super sticker. And I'm going to imitate her super sticker. Here we go. Hello, Starbucks. There we go. See, I can imitate it. So yeah, this is my quest to have Starbucks sponsor me. They're not gonna, but it doesn't hurt to ask. And plus, I do like coffee, so there we go. Good old coffee. Good old Starbucks. Thank you very much, Jackie. So that's $4, by the way. It means that right now, for the next month on the 0 to 100K challenge, we've gone from $500 to $504. So that all does go in. And I was thinking as well, once we get to a certain amount, I would say once we get like any super stickers or super chats over $10, we'll start to take into consideration the cut that YouTube gets. Because if somebody comes along and says, I just want this done and drops $100,000, I think I'd only get 70,000. I think YouTube would take that other 30,000 because I think they get about 30%. So we'll cross that bridge if it ever happens. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's anything we have to worry about. I don't even know why I brought it up. Anyway, that's fine. Anyway, thank you very much, Jackie. Very, very much appreciated. David says, our GDP increase was due to the population growth. Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, the population growth is decreasing the real GDP per capita, and it's kind of helping the regular GDP go up as well. So definitely we have both situations because of the increase in immigration. But we need that immigration because if we don't have it, our GDP is going to be in serious trouble, especially considering we are not at a fertility rate to even sustain the current population that we have. So, that's a big thing. I think we've talked about that in the past as well. Ian is in the house with a big old I'm late. No problems, Ian. We are now calling you, by the way, Ian. We're calling you Ian the investor and not Ian the gardener. That way there we can distinguish between the two of you. Vic says, if Putin follows through on his promises, if NATO acts up means we don't have to worry about the market. Yeah. But in a sense, here's the thing. I mean, as much as I know, as much as we all sort of say, Putin, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have come into Ukraine. I don't think he is going to be the type that would, just lightly start throwing nukes. I think he's a little more sane than that. So I don't think we have a lot of issue, but I think he's just sort of reiterating that, hey, stay out of it. I'm tolerating all of the weapons that you sent to Ukraine, but don't start throwing your troops in there or else, we have issues. But here's the funny thing. Even though this is a very serious threat, I have a feeling if NATO troops actually did enter, I don't think we would see an escalation to a nuclear war right away. I think there would still be a way to cool and get backtrack out of that. But let's hope it doesn't get there. Otherwise, we'll have an interesting show that week for sure. Ian says, time for REITs yet? Yes. It is time to be stacking REITs. And right now, REITs are not going to start exploding yet. But here's the thing. I've got Timber Creek Financial. They're not a REIT, but they're kind of REIT-like. And I've got RioCan in the 0 to 100K challenge. And they're both in profit. They're both in the green. So I think right now we're going to see REITs stay fairly sluggish, but sluggish to the upside. Once we start getting them rate cuts, though, that's going to be big for REITs. Now, keep in mind, the one REIT that you want to kind of avoid are office REITs. Office REITs, I think not that they're not going to recover, they're going to recover slower than more diversified REITs or than REITs that have more public properties, more rental properties. So just something to keep in mind when it comes to REITs. Terry says, is Vic really Vince Gill? That's darned awesome. Thanks, Vince, for your super awesome country music presence and continuous contribution to the Banana Bread Republic. Could Vic really be Vince Gill? That's a question. I don't know the answer. I can't say one way or the other. Paul says, took a break laying down peel and stick floor in a bathroom. Yes, and for those of you who want to see Paul's floor, there's pictures over on the Discord. So there's a link down below, by the way, for the Discord. We have it. It's fun over there. A lot of great place to have conversation, share pictures, everything. We got pictures of our pets and everything over there. Love it. It's great. Vic says, more Bangra than country. Paul says, John Candy vision of stuff towards the camera and back and repeat. Okay. All right. Oh. Yeah. That was that movement thing. That used to be, if I remember correctly, that would be John Candy's version of 3D. Oh, let me do it again. I have to do it again now. There we go. Woo! Woo! 3D. Now in 3D. Starbucks, I'm in 3D. You should sponsor me. Okay. That was fun. Oh, you know what? I did say after that last story, I would, let me just do this here. I would drop another membership. So let's do it. Oh, this is kind of fun doing them one by one. That way there we can sort of build up the fun and have it just come along. All right, there we go. It's done. It should pop up momentarily. Bismarcky is excited because Roll Up the Rim starts tomorrow. Has anybody here ever won anything half decent with Roll Up the Win? I am curious to know. Uh-oh. Vic won a membership. Holy banana bread, Vic. That's awesome. It's you. Or Vince Gill. We're not sure. Let's see. Ms. Mark E, just a friend. Mario says, Ian, I sold 3 of my REITs at a profit. Paul says, population growth of 1 million increases the volume at grocery stores. Even if 3 to 5% profit margin, it adds up. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jackie saying 44 people watching, 23 likes. Smash that like button, everyone. Yeah, absolutely. Go ballistic on that like button. Pretend blue is your favorite color. So hit it till it turns a good old blue color. Vic says, I use Timber Creek as private equity play. There we go. Yeah, Timber Creek is normally always in my portfolio, except for when we started to go down and when rate hikes started going up, I cleaned out of them at that point, but now they're back in because I'm going to ride them up because they're normally up almost to $10 a share, I believe, and that's quite a bit. Ian says, reinvest Canoe dividends into PLZ. It's a strip mall REIT. I would be doing it in my TFSA. Not bad. Yeah, absolutely. Paul says, Equinox data center REIT. AI boom needs somewhere to put those NVIDIA AI equipment. And speaking of Equinix, never mind. Speaking of Equinix, we have the vote going on right now on the community tab for the next deep dive. And Equinix was actually requested by Paul, and it is one of the companies you can vote for. So, be sure, don't do it now, but do it after the stream. Head over to the community tab and give yourself a vote so we can get that going. All right, Vic says, never been this heavy in cash. UCSH cash, MNU, PSY, getting paid next week. Nice. And yes, SCTV. Yes. You can find reactions now on YouTube. If you ever watch reaction videos to people who are discovering SCTV and some of the old things, that's where like Bob and Doug McKenzie came out of SCTV. Funny story about Bob and Doug McKenzie. Basically, because the SCTV, they had they had less commercials in Canada than they had internationally on the show or something of that nature. So they had to create one segment to make up for that. And they said, let's make it distinctively Canadian. So they were like, okay, we'll just throw a map up on the wall of Canada and we'll have these two beer drinking guys. And that's where Bob and Doug came up with. And of course, they incredibly popular. They had like spoof songs, and they even did a movie called Strange Brew, which is, if you're a Canadian, you probably need to experience the movie once, at least. Ian says, got to experience my first earthquake. Holy banana bread. That's cool. No damage, but surprisingly scary for how short it was. Yeah, but you keep in mind, because if you've never experienced an earthquake before, your first one, even if it's only 30 seconds, it probably is going to feel like 5 minutes because it's brand new to you. And anytime you run into an experience that you've never, ever experienced before, it's like time really, really slows down for you. So I imagine it felt very long, Ian. I've never experienced an earthquake yet. So, I'm a little jealous on that. Yeah, Vic won. Holy cow. We got a whole bunch of congratulations here for Vic. And Vic is still smoke-free. That is awesome. We're into the 3rd month. This might be the time. Vic. I think you got it. And we got Steven in the house driving home. Nice to listen to your show. Thank you, Steven. Thank you. So good to see you. Hopefully you pulled over to to make your comment because last thing I want to do is create car accidents. No love for VersaBank. Yeah, a lot of the smaller banks they didn't do very well with the earnings call. So one thing to keep in mind, we got Jersky in the house. There's a big hello, and Carlos is saying, "Uh oh, uh, Coolio, co." There we go. I tried. Ian says, be fearful of stocks trying to ride the NVIDIA coattails. I remember enough companies trying to say they were blockchain companies to boost the stock price. Same thing with the graphene. Yeah, you want to, that's doing your due diligence, making sure the company actually has something to offer, especially AI. Yeah, that's kind of huge. Lisa is saying, way to go, Vic. You got this. And Paul says, Coca-Cola free over 2 weeks now. Oh, nice, nice, nice. I mostly drink, most of my drink, well, I drink my coffee, of course. And if you guys can see behind me, I got all of that bubbly water. I drink a lot of that as well. I have the occasional Coke Zero, but mostly coffee, water. That tends to be the big contributors. All right, let's go to the next news story. Let me bring it up here. All right, an EV tax. So this is kind of interesting. So this is an Alberta story. So let me just give me a second here. There we go. So Alberta is now introducing a tax on electric cars and trucks. So basically, well, some people are saying it's actually a pushback against Trudeau's effort to encourage the sale of green vehicles. It might be, but it actually does make sense. So this here is a small tax. It's $200 a year. And it was announced by the Alberta finance minister, who basically says it is a issue of fairness. So what do we mean by this? So this guy, his name is Nate Horner. He basically said that because basically EV vehicles, they're heavier than regular gas-driven vehicles. So because they're heavier, they do cause more wear and tear on the roads while they are, and while at the same time, they're not actually paying that fuel tax that everybody else is paying when they fill up at the pumps. So this tax money that they're pulling from the EV vehicles, it's all going towards repairing the wear and tear on the roads. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Now, if you have a hybrid vehicle, you're exempt. So you don't have to worry about it if your vehicle does both electric and gas. So, but yeah, your EV vehicles, it's like, okay, you're going to start paying a little bit for the roads as well. And to me, I look at that as being, I think that's fair. Do you guys think that's fair? I certainly do. I think it's really, really, really fair. All right. So Paul is drinking water now that he has gotten off of the Coca-Cola. And yeah, I've seen some pictures from California. People shoveling a lot of snow. So 12 feet of snow expected in California. I thought it was a typo. If that happened back home, it would be a disaster. Now, I think a lot of the huge amounts are in the mountains and the higher elevations. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think like places like Los Angeles are getting snow, but I think this is all Northern California up in the higher elevations, I believe. So we'll have to look at that. Jackie has something to say about this EV tax. So tax on EV, that is fair. The EV weighs so much. Also, tires do not last very long since the car weighs so much. Also, some of the elements of the batteries will be harvested from the ocean. Yeah, absolutely. Here's the thing. If we move towards EV vehicles, there's going to be more taxes. Like this is just a light. I mean, you know, $200 a year, this is nothing. They're probably going to have to, down the road, look at taxing these vehicles because that's where the money comes for repairing our roads. In most cities, that's where they're using that money, most provinces. So I think this is going to be, you know, Alberta may have pulled the gun first, but I think other provinces will follow suit eventually. It makes sense to me. Ian says, put the extra 200 from the EVs to help build up the electricity infrastructure. That would be another thing too. Right now, our electricity structure cannot handle everybody on EVs. I mean, you know, look at all of the look at Alberta not that long ago. They were telling people, please don't use electricity as much as you can. You know, that was because they were having the issue where they almost had brownouts. It's happening. So it's kind of one of these things that we need. if we want a EV society, we need to have the grid in place. I think that means we need more nuclear power. Because nuclear power to me is one of my favorite types of green energy. So just one of those things to keep in mind. Perry says, well, I think the EV tax seems reasonable. I think it defeats the purpose of encouraging the move to EV. Um, yeah, I mean, I think part of it is a lot of people who are moving to EV, they're like, I just want to save all this money. So that is kind of an interesting thing. And also look here, Perlovia is mentioning as well. Collisions way up on EVs and pricey to repair. So yeah, they are pricey to repair. I mean, you're probably, and here's the thing, even if you're a safe driver, it doesn't necessarily mean you won't get into an accident. Somebody else could hit you and you could still end up with a bill. Even, hopefully their insurance will cover it if you're not at fault, but they could hit you and you may, it's dicey. It's dicey. I'm going to leave that alone. I think Bismarcky says energy costs will go up to compensate for oil revenues lost. Yeah, but I think for a while, I think oil is going to be big for a long time. I don't think we're going to see things like as much as the current government wants to push us to to become an EV world. It's not going to go quite as smoothly as they seem to think. And the reality is, once we change government, the rules will change. Everything will change a little bit with those rules. So I'm not too concerned about that. Let's see. Ian says fuel tax pays for road repair. EVs don't buy fuel. Need some way to pay for the road repairs. Yeah, exactly. I mean, if everybody went EV, there's either a couple of ways they're going to do it. They'll either do some kind of a straight tax, or they'll just tax us in other places to pay for the roads. So, your road tax might come out of your income tax, or it might come out of, your provincial part of your income tax, because I believe roads are mostly provincial. So, yeah, Sammer, absolutely. Canada needs nuclear power. We get a lot of it in Ontario. Like a lot of our, the grid in Ontario does come from nuclear power, but we need more. Absolutely. Let's see. Ian says, I would like to see Canada lead the way in nuclear energy. Yeah, I would agree with that completely. EV should pay a tax. There we go. Terry says EV weight tax. Yes, an alternative power source road tax for EV vehicles would be more fair. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Oh, Ian says EVs are hard work on. First major new thing for automotive mechanics in 100 years. Yeah, absolutely. They're a completely different thing. Now, here's the thing. If you are a person who, let's say you want to be a mechanic, learning how to work on EVs could actually be a huge thing for you. So that's interesting. And Kendall wants to know, how many of you guys have EVs? Do any of you have an electric vehicle? Yeah, I'm curious to know. Ian, you've got a lot of cars. Ian has 5 cars, but no EVs. That's a lot of cars. I don't know why somebody needs 5 cars, but unless you're like an avid collector of cars, but hey, why not? Ooh, you built one yourself. That's actually pretty darn cool. That is very cool. All right, let's drop one more membership here right now. Give me a second here. Click on the right thing so I can do it. Who's going to win? Who's going to win? I don't know, but we're going to find out here in a second. All right, let's go. Here we go. There we go. It should process here pretty darn fast. Jackie says, no EV here, so expensive. I am putting my money in the stock market. Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. Bismarcky won. Yeah, congratulations, Bismarcky. It's always great when the person is actually here. I've seen Bismarcky quite a bit tonight, or today, this afternoon. Lisa says, I don't have them, but I manufacture them. Ooh, interesting. So Lisa probably has a little bit more on how to repair them as well. Paralovia, Candace, do you have any stock play? Do you have any stock play for tomorrow? My play tomorrow is mostly going to be on the swing side. I've been swinging Bitcoin, so I'm going to swing that a bit tomorrow as well. I did leave a position into BTCC.B over the weekend, and Right now it is up. It is up. So I'm in a winning spot on that move. So the goal is if Bitcoin were to explode or something before Monday morning, that would be fantastic. But generally, I should be up. I should make a little bit of money by Monday morning. So that's kind of my big thing. Let's see. Vic says Edmonton invests huge in EV buses, but company went bankrupt and half the buses don't work. $82 million loss. Holy cow! Yeah, that's not good. Congratulations, and there's a woohoo from Bismarcky. Paul says, have a Toyota Prius Prime plug-in hybrid. Okay, that's pretty cool. Vic says Volkswagen buses lose a lot of range with cold unless for a city bus. Oh, you mean EV? Oh, you mean an EV bus and not a Volkswagen? I didn't. I was reading that and I was like, "Did Volkswagen make buses?" That's kind of funny. All right. Let's grab our next story here. Oh, we can still keep talking about EV though. We'll move between the two. All right. What do we have up next? A little bit on Canadian debt. Good old Canadian debt here. So Canada's total consumer debt in the fourth quarter of last year, it has reached a brand new record of $2.4 trillion. That's actually a 2.9% increase from the previous year. So debt's going up. So apparently about 92% of Canadian credit card users have a balance to pay off. And this is an increase of 3.7%. So it used to be like down around 89%. That was just in the last year. Now, a lot of this debt, a lot of the increase in debt is actually newcomers coming in. So a lot of people who've immigrated into Canada getting credit cards and things like that. So they've driven, they've taken on about 3.5 billion in debt since 2022. Oh, it's time for the coffee again. Got a frog in my throat. There we go. Now I feel a lot better. So that's pretty interesting. Now, a lot of, because of the higher rates that we've been experiencing, so a lot of payments and debt things have increased. So your average mortgage payment, it's grown by 12%. Average credit card minimums have grown by 11%. We're talking just in the last year. Auto loans have gone up by 6%. And the big winner, well, maybe the loser, lines of credit. If you still have one of those, they went up by about 13%. So that's pretty darn pricey. All right. And let's see here. Where are we at? Here we are. Had to find where Vic was. Let's see. Paul, you got a prime 3-year wait. Zero consumer debt. Nice going, Carlos. That's the way to be. If you're debt free, try to stay that way if you can. Because, Carlos is just sitting back and it's like, we're raising the rate. And he's like, I don't care. It doesn't affect me. Well, it probably does, but it doesn't affect you directly. That's not a bad place to be. Ian says, BHP cut their dividends, had a negative effect on my TFSA dividend. Don't know how to express my sadness without telling how many shares I still have. So just know I'm sad. Yeah, there's nothing worse than holding something and watching the dividends get cut. So yeah, it's one of those neat little things. Well, it's not a neat thing. It's not a fun thing. Mary says, could you swing trade Shiba Inu Bitcoin? I have 5 million, almost up to what I paid for it. Yeah, I mean, you can swing trade pretty much any crypto if you really want to. It really is going to boil down to which exchange you're on and how well it is going. So, excuse me, like the reason I swing, the Bitcoin ETF opposed to Bitcoin directly is that it's just so much easier. And plus, because it's a stock and it's no commission, because I'm using National Bank for that, it's pretty easy to do it. The problem is a lot of exchanges, they have a pretty large spread on your Bitcoin or on crypto in general. So you end up, you can do the swing, but when you sort of calculate the spread into it, you don't make as much money. So let's take, for example, ShakePay. I love ShakePay. It's a great way to buy Bitcoin, but they have a spread. So when you actually look at the price on ShakePay and look at the actual price of Bitcoin, you'll see a little bit of a difference. And that's the spread. So you're actually buying. So when you go to buy, let's say Bitcoin was at 60,000 exactly, you're probably buying at about 61,000 and something. So you're losing a little bit. And then when you put it into, when you sell, it's the same thing. So you're losing on both ends. So when you're doing a swing, your profits are being eating into a little bit. So that's the reason I use stocks for that. For the simple reason that because I'm using a no commission and I know exactly what my ask is, so because I know what the bid and ask are exactly, I know exactly how much I'm making. And to me, that's fantastic. It works really well that way. So that's one of the reasons that I really don't. Now, if you're looking to make money on crypto, a lot of people who do make money on crypto, they actually do it through options. So they do longing and shorting. Um, I'll tell you right now, I probably wouldn't short Bitcoin, but there's money to be made either way. Okay, Paul says, have a Toyota Prius Prime plug-in hybrid, the 36 to 46 kilometer range on EV mode. In cold weather, the range drops. Does it drop a lot? Let's see, buy gas about every 2 to 3 months, about $21 a month, and 120-volt electricity for home charging. So that's not too bad. Ooh, Prairie's also a zero debtor. There we go. Nice going, Prairie. Ian says, crazy talking to my daughter. She's 19 and all her friends have credit card debt. As far as I know, she does not have any. Yeah. Well, here's the thing, though. I know that a lot of times, especially university students, they used to have kiosks. When I went to university, there was a kiosk for credit cards. And you'd almost get guaranteed everything you could apply for. And I knew a lot of people who would say, oh, I'm going to apply for everything and end up with more credit cards than you could shake a stick at and a lot of debt. Not a good way, considering if you happen to be one of these people who's using student loans, you're already racking up a ton of debt. You don't want to throw on a whole ton of credit card debt on top of that. Prairie says mortgage free for 6+ years. No, nice. That is awesome. Paul says it is a 2018. Okay, it is a 2018, bought July 2023, paid off the car loan in January of 2024. Yeah. Carlos has some GICs at 5%. That's not a bad rate. But keep in mind, when these rate cuts start coming, you're probably going to see some of these GIC rates start falling too. So, if you are thinking of getting in on a GIC, you probably want to do it sooner than later. Sammer says, my guess is when Bitcoin reaches all-time high, people will sell and we'll see 25 to 30% drops. Bad coins, even more. That is the time to buy big. No crystal ball, just guessing. Yeah, it is one of these things that when you do hit certain psychological levels in the market, you do tend to see some sailing off. So, and it's actually interesting. I was looking for that when Bitcoin was on its climb. I was looking at 50K as a place to sell and move back in. I did get a little bit of a correction at 50, but it wasn't as big as I thought. I was actually very surprised at that. But a lot of it is we're in the situation where, at least on the Bitcoin side, all of these institutional investments, we're talking all these ETFs, they're just stacking and stacking and pulling in Bitcoins and gobbling them up as much as they can. And that's caused things to behave a little bit different than it normally does. So normally that correction at 50K would have been much deeper. So here's my guess. When we do hit that all-time high, and we're damn close, we're only about 5,000 away from hitting the all-time high. I don't think we're going to see it that deep. We might see a bit of a drop, some people selling off, but I don't think it's going to be that deep. Just because the excitement level, the amount of greed, we're in extreme greed, but technically it should be even more than extreme. If there's a word greater than extreme, I would use that. It's getting kind of crazy. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Ian says, I am debt free, but the high interest rates affect my stocks as well as my property value. Yeah, absolutely. Perlovia, zero debt. And guess what? Sold my cows. No more calving. There we go. Yeah. Hopefully you sold your cows for more than a couple of magic beans. That's what I'm thinking. Paul says, the 2018 Toyota Prius Prime upgrade model had 49,400 kilometers. Biz Markey says, I have 24 million SHIB. I'm not selling. I'll go down with the ship before I sell. All right. You got the diamond hands there, Biz Markey. Ian says, I used to help my neighbors brand caves, but never got the brand calves, but never got the calving. I read that as caves initially. I thought that was funny. Perlovia, I will miss it. I miss helping on my dad's farm, seeding and harvesting. Used to pick rocks by hand. Okay. Jackie is zero debt as well. December 31st, I paid off everything. There was lots of craft dinner, tuna, and water, but I did it. Congratulations. Always sounds fun. You guys are doing well. I'm liking this. Paralovia saying, I still have rocks. Come on down. Let's see, some new IPOs coming. Any of these intriguing? Always be careful with IPOs. They tend to start high and then they tend to fall pretty fast. So if you're looking to get in on an IPO, don't buy it open when it opens. Just watch it through that day, and it's going to come down, and you're going to get a nice, better position. Even later in the week, you'll probably get a better position than opening. Ian says, Paralovia, where's the farm? In Piney, Manitoba. John Locke says, a bit late for the live stream. Happy Sunday, all. Thoughts on holding VFV and VUN over just holding VFV, pros versus cons? That's a good question. I'm very familiar with VFV, but I don't know a lot about VUN to give you a good argument on that. But anybody here know about VUN? What do you think? Let me know. Tell me about it. Vic says, I'm helping my landlord pay their mortgage, but the landlord is your mom. Yeah, I've heard about your mom. Prairie says, daughter is 28, got her BSc with no student debt. Awesome. Very good. Hopefully scholarships. Only got a credit card last year and maintains a zero balance every month. This is perfect. I'm thinking that Prairie has been passing on some good finance wisdom to his daughter. Ian says, I'm in Moose Jaw. Dad used to make a map when he was seeding, and after we would go out and find the rocks. It was like we were pirates looking for treasure. Yeah, exactly. Institutions are buying in the U.S. Farmers, edge stock. Ian, the rock pirate. Now, keep in mind, too, like you take somebody like Purpose. Purpose and a lot of the Canadian ETFs for Bitcoin, they're adding more Bitcoin because they're starting to see more volume as well, because that excitement bleeds over a little bit too, but nothing compared to what you're seeing in the US, of course. Vic says, I invested in Edge, this Canadian AI farming stock, but dropped from the IPO and now penny stock. Yeah, and that can happen. One of the reasons that you want to sort of hold. So VUN is a total U.S. stock market. Okay. That makes sense. Opposed to the S&P 500. Yeah. Let me look into this, John. Come back and ask me next. It's a different John Locke. Vic's asking if you're from Lost. John Locke is actually a very popular name. There's actually an author as well by the name of John Locke. I think he does a lot of I think it's mostly self-published books, but he's very, very popular. So just a thought there. But yeah, come back next week, John. Ask me again. I will look up VUN and just do a quick comparison, because right now I don't want to commit to anything, only because I haven't really looked into VUN. But I like the sounds of a total market. I really, really do, because once again, more diversification is better than less diversification. And VUN sounds to me like it's going to be much more diversified than VFN. So just something to keep in mind. Jersky says, Ian, the rock pirate should pick the treasures at my farm. My daughter changed her college studies to not have $70,000 student debt after. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, there we go. Your mom should be happy now that you don't smoke anymore. Canadian-based Pulsar Helium just discovered a good well in Minnesota. So a penny stock. This is from Kendall. So that might be something to sort of look at. So Pulsar Helium just discovered a good well. That's a type of thing. When we talk about news, when you find stuff like that in the news, that can very well point you to. Like this is a company that I would probably, if they're a penny stock, they might be worth even throwing, even throwing like, 20, $30 into it or something and see what happens, or maybe more. It's up to you, but you don't want to me, I would never throw a lot on a penny stock. Only because I've seen so many people lose everything on some of these penny stocks. But I do like that, Kendall. Ian says, I will pick rock, but you must make a treasure map first. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Paul says, are the Canadian BTC ETFs going to lower their fees? Over 1% USD ARKB Bitcoin ETF is 0.21. That's a good question. Now, the one I know, probably BTCY, so the one that has the covered calls, no chance they'll ever lower their fees. But I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing that filter into some of these Canadian ETFs, because that would be kind of a good thing, I think. Jersky says, Puddle Jumper is from Moose Jaw. He has a canoeing YouTube channel. Okay, very cool. Ian says, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm hearing the loudest thunder in my life. Car alarms going off. Holy cow. Are you sure it's thunder? Could it be a volcanic eruption? Because Ian is down in Colombia. If on the news we hear of a volcanic eruption in Colombia, that might be what Ian's hearing. Be safe, Ian, in case it is actually a volcano or something. But hopefully it's just thunder. Hopefully it's just thunder. Vic says, cousin graduated with film studies degree and 85,000 in the hole. Holy banana bread. All right. All right. Let's talk about some space food. So yeah, it was kind of a funny thing. So the Canadian Space Agency, they have actually selected 5 Canadian foods for our astronauts to enjoy on, well, there's 2 different missions. We're sending some Canadians up to the ISS, and we're also sending that Canadian on that trip around the moon. So these are the foods that they have come up with. Now, some of them I've heard of, some of them I have not. So the big thing is, and this is kind of what determined which foods they picked, they needed to be able to dehydrate them, and they also needed to have food that would make a minimal amount of waste. So the first of their 5 is strawberry lavender super seed cereal. I've never heard of this. Now it's got apparently chia and pumpkin seeds in it, some buckwheat, and some hemp. So have any of you guys heard of this cereal? I haven't. I have no clue. Then the second food that they have approved is shrimp curry and rice. Okay, that sounds good. I'd be okay with that. The third one, smoked salmon. So I'm good with that. Now the fourth one. You know those maple cookies that look like maple leaves? Those. So those are going to be going up into space. Now I imagine it's going to be in a dehydrated version, but still. And the last thing that they've approved is maple syrup. So it's going to be in some kind of a squeezable tube type thing. But those are the foods that are going to be going up into space. So I find that kind of interesting, kind of funny. Yeah, good old space food. I've always thought it would be fun to buy some of this astronaut food and just try it. I don't know if you can buy it on like Amazon. That would be kind of an interesting thing to look at. I'll check into that. Maybe if we can buy it, I'll buy some and eat it on the air. Just I think that would be kind of funny. Yeah, exactly. Bob and Doug McKenzie, they would recommend taking beer up into space. Yeah, I can believe that. All right, it's time for another. It's time for another membership. Let's do this here. I keep clicking on the wrong button over here off on the side. All right, let's come down. Here we go. Who's going to win? I don't know. Mary says Tang. Yeah, I think astronauts have been actually taking Tang up for a long time. So But that's a good suggestion. I think they definitely like it. Um, Kendall has won, and I know Kendall's here because Kendall asked a question not that long ago. So fantastic! Congratulations, Kendall. Always good to see somebody who's here win. All right, let's get our next story out of the way here. And why not India? So I've been talking a little bit about India for the last little while and the investment opportunities in India. And a lot of countries are now starting to look to India as as they move away from, China. So here's some reasons on why India is a really good investment location. Uh, First of all, they've got the most number of people in the world. So I think it was last year, they passed China as being the most populous country. There's a strong focus in India right now with the government on improving infrastructure to basically attract foreign investment. They kind of know that they're in that sweet spot and they're taking advantage and they're trying to get things set up to make them more and more, more and more the choice. Their stock market. So speaking of the stock market in India, it's hitting record highs. So right now, the Indian stock market, it's worth $4 trillion. Now, to put that into perspective, China, I don't have a total on the Chinese market, but I will tell you this. Since about 2021, they've erased $5 trillion off of their exchanges. So China's market's falling, India's market's going up. And the IMF, so the International Monetary Fund, they're actually predicting that India is going to grow by 6.5% over the next year. At the same time, China's still going to grow, but only at about a 4.6% rate. So India is doing fantastic. So this is something to keep in mind. Now we do have international ETFs that do India. So it's one of those things. Like I really think it doesn't hurt to get an exposure to India. I probably should add one to the 0 to 100 because I do think India is a good place to go. All right, let's get caught up on these accounts. Take edibles to space. Oh, Ian. Next thing you know, people on the International Space Station is like, why is it leaving orbit? Too many edibles. And Kendall is saying thank you for the win. Absolutely. Congratulations. And congrats from Bismarcky. Should we invest in an India ETF? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to do your own due diligence to decide, but I think India is definitely a good play. Enid is in the house. Hello, Enid. How are you doing? Down there in Mexico, enjoying some really nice weather. I guess Ian is enjoying some good weather too, and a loud thunder. All right. Vic says everyone is writing off China. I think it's a mistake. Time will tell. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, Cancun. I was trying to remember where it was you went. I think on the market close. Those of you, by the way, who are here, we do a market close live stream every Wednesday. Starts at 3:45, so 15 minutes before the market closes. So definitely show up for that, folks. It's a lot of fun. And tomorrow. Holy cow. Oh, you must be kind of sad. I know if I'm on a vacation or something, and I don't do vacations, but if I'm visiting something, I'm always a little sad when it's time to come home. So now let's see. Paul says, yeah, so ZID, that there is, I think it's a BMO one. That's their Indian ETF. The channel members, they get to vote on the last video every month. And every month it comes up international stocks or international ETFs or just international exposure. And it gets so close to winning, but it hasn't won yet. But that's the only reason I haven't done that one is because I'm like, I know the channel members want it. So hopefully this month, when they vote for the March one, hopefully that one wins. We'll have to see. When I ask for suggestions, try to give crappy suggestions so that one wins, folks. That'd be kind of funny. Ian says China had a recession in 2014. Everything got hit hard, especially resources. Won't be fun if it happens again. And let's see. Enid says, I'll go, I guess, or I'll G. Oh, 3 weeks is enough. Okay, okay. So you're ready. You're ready to come home. Fantastic. Pirilovia says, see you all Wednesday at close. Have a great week in trading. Oh, absolutely. Take care, Pirilovia. We will miss you as we get to the end of this. We're not at the end yet. We still got news to go. Don't worry. Harp, hi Harp, good to see you. Says XID BlackRock. There we go. There's another good ETF. So there are options out there. So let's let's do another membership. Let me. All right, here we go. Boom. All right, it should be popping up here in just a moment. All right, now. Here we go. Let's see who wins. I'll take a sip of my coffee while we see. Look at this. Parilovia is just leaving. I hope Parilovia sees this before they go. But yeah, Parilovia won. Congratulations. That's fantastic. Oh, that's good. Oh, I feel bad that Parilovia just missed that. Okay. Well, anyway, if you come back and watch the end of the stream on the replay, Parilovia, congratulations. That is awesome. All right, next news story. Chatbot bribes. We've been talking about this. We've been talking about chatbot. And I've been mentioning some of the weird behavior that when I'm trying to get these pictures, so these little pictures off on the side here, sometimes I have to say, like, I'll give you a ride on a purple pony or something, and they will give me a better picture. So it's really, really interesting. But there's been a study on this, and researchers, they tested a half dozen chatbots, against dozens of tasks, and they used basically 150 different prompts per task. And they found that when you are polite to a chatbot, it gives you better answers. Interesting. So here's the kind of the idea on why this happens. So they think that large language models, they mirror certain human communication traits. So that means that they consider politeness. So a chatbot considers politeness to be a very important part of the way humans communicate. And as such, when you use politeness towards the chatbots, you actually start to generate better responses. Kind of like, think of it like people, right? If you go up to somebody and ask them politely for something, they're more likely to give it to you than if you come and you start to hit them in the face, with some rudeness or something like that. So definitely kind of interesting. So yeah, good old chatbot. All right, let's get caught up. You guys are just hitting there like really fast. Anyone get a free iPhone from Wealth Simple? Good question. Poor old Skiz. I haven't seen Skiz in the last couple of weeks. Actually, I saw Skiz on somebody else's site the other day. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was on a Russell Matthews live stream. I think Skiz was over there. And congratulations to Pirilovia. Enid is saying, push the like button. Yeah, if you guys haven't hit that like button yet, just hit it. Make sure you slam it. Good old like button. Vic says, how do you keep your coffee hot? Well, I top it up with heat right before the stream starts. And right now, like this moment, it is not hot. It's kind of in that lukewarm to almost getting chilly. But maybe what I need is a little hot plate or something that I can sit on up here. That might be an idea. Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Vic says Enid liked Bare Naked Ladies song. Yes, Bare Naked Ladies. I haven't heard about them in a long time. I think they're pretty much gone nowadays. They were a hip band back in the day. Yeah, If I Had $1 Million. That was kind of their big anthem, I think. They also, the theme, if you ever remember that show Big Bang Theory on TV, they wrote that theme song as well and performed it. So that was actually Bare Naked Ladies. Ian says, I'm going to move my stuff over to Wealth Simple when I get back to Canada, but I am going to push for the 0.5%. I could have got a nice patio if I understood what the bonus was. Oh, nice. Yeah, I mean, especially if you have a larger portfolio and you're moving it over, it doesn't hurt to reach out to them and see if see if they can do something for it. Paul says AI chatbots. You have to tell the bot that they are an expert in a subject you want an answer for. You kind of do. Even after, like, I was using extreme politeness with them for this time around to get my pictures, and quite honestly, I got good pictures. I think only maybe one of them I had to ask for it to change something for me. But no, it gave me good pictures, and at the end, I then just wrote a quick little thank you at the end for the chat bot as well. It's like, hey, I'm Canadian. I can be polite. I know politeness. It's in my DNA. So definitely good. Whoops. Uh, Big Shib says thoughts on EQB. Um, I love EQB. So equity. So EQ Bank is for me. That's the bank I use. Actually, they are my main bank. Investment wise, I think that they came down a little bit. Their earnings call wasn't that good, but it's not so much. I think all of the small banks, so Laurentian, Canadian Western Bank, EQ Bank, they all suffered a little bit. I think they all kind of had a bit of a bad earnings. So I wouldn't weigh anything into it. If anything, if you are an investor in EQ Bank, this could be your opportunity just to average down a little bit. So I do have full faith in EQ Bank. I think they're going to recover, and I have no worries about them at all, to be honest. Jill says, someone may have ordered you the Starbucks mug with a lid that might be arriving on Saturday. Oh, okay. So apparently, Jill has ordered me a new Starbucks mug with a lid that will help keep things hot. There we go. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Paul says, ChatGPT can help you write cover letters for a job application. Then you can edit it to make it your style. Yeah, absolutely. And plus the thing is with ChatGPT, there is I don't know if the free version has this, but if you have the paid version, there's a whole bunch of different GPTs. So you can actually go and browse through them and find GPTs that are designed to do specific things that specialize in areas. So that way like for example, there's a finance GPT. There is basically a data analyst GPT. So basically, you can give it you can actually upload, for example, an Excel sheet to it, and then say, okay, can you give me the data from this row? And so yeah, it's really kind of cool. There's so much you can do. All right, Sammer says, love to hear your thoughts about RSP, equal weight SP 500 over VOO. The problem to me is that when you're looking at an equal weight, it doesn't really give the manager of that fund, it doesn't really give them a lot of what's wiggle room per se. If you're looking at a non-equal weight, your manager can then, if you've got a stinker in there, your manager can look at maybe either removing them, maybe even lessening the actual size of the contribution into that. So for me, that is one of the issues with equal weight. I do like equal weight when you're looking at a smaller group. So for example, if you're looking at an ETF for Canadian banks and you went with equal weight, I think that's perfect. But now I have not looked a lot at RSP. So out of the two, I would lean towards VOO right away. And yeah, the equal weight thing kind of I don't want to say it turns me off. It's just, to me, I would rather have a non-equal weight in a larger exchange for that, just for that very reason. Yeah, buy the EQB dip, SPLG. Let's see, just check back, and wow, thanks for the gifted membership. Yeah, it was awesome. You showed up. It was funny. You just missed it. It was hilarious. You know what? Let's do another one. Let's do another one. I don't know if we're at the 5 yet or not. I think we're getting there. Here we go. Boop. All right, we got another one coming here in a second. All right, there we go. Paul says, took a LinkedIn A LinkedIn learning course for using ChatGPT for resumes. Nice, nice. Jonathan, our very first poster of the day. Jonathan won the membership. Congratulations, Jonathan. That is awesome. Enid says, congrats to the new members. You are now in the elite class. Yes, I am looking over on Discord. I'm actually looking at creating a one little thread for channel members. And then what I'll do with that thread is I'm going to do this as a special thing. So when you become a channel member, I'll put you in the thread so that you have access to it. And then what I'll do is I'll update it once a quarter. So if you're only a channel member for 1 month, for example, like let's say you won it, you can stay in there for that quarter. And I'll give people warning. I'll say, I'm going to update this on such and such a date. That way there, if you're like, oh my God, I love this thread, I can't lose this thread. That gives you options, right? But yeah, so that's what I'm kind of thinking about. Let's see here. Vic says, Lovers in a Dangerous Time by Bare Naked and covered by Bruce Cockburn or vice versa. I think Bruce Cockburn actually wrote it and then they covered it. I'm pretty sure that was originally a Bruce Cockburn, but I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. I'm leaning towards Bruce Cockburn as being the first. All right. Paul says, LinkedIn Learning is free if you use your library card. Oh, nice. Nice. I have used LinkedIn Learning. So every so often they say, here, we'll give you a free month. And I take it. But now I'm at the point where it's like, if I really want to learn something, there's a GPT for that. There really is. Like you could get, for example, let's say you wanted to learn about astrophysics. I'm sure there's probably a GPT that would specialize in astrophysics. And you could learn a ton that way as well. But the thing is with GPT as well, you always want to keep in mind, sometimes it's not always accurate. It's gotten a lot better, but always don't use it as your prime source. Double check things, all of that fun stuff. But nonetheless, it's getting really, really good. Vic says, kick at the darkness till it bleeds light. Must be the best lyrics written. Yeah, no, it's a great song. I do like that song as well. Yeah, Canadian music absolutely rocks. I am a huge fan of Canadian music, especially the 80s, some of the 80s stuff from Canadian music. You got your Gowan, you got your Platinum Blonde, Corey Hart, Bryan Adams. There's just a lot, really. Honeymoon Suite, can't forget them. There's a lot of really great stuff from the 90s. There's also some really, or the 80s. There's also some kind of cringy stuff too. Actually a funny story in the 80s, Kim Mitchell sweated on me and I was like, no. Because I went to a little club and Kim Mitchell was there and I got pushed right up to the front of the stage and he was right up in front of me and he was sweating and it was hitting me and I was annoyed kind of. But anyway, that's just a interesting thing there. Oh yeah, Jonathan's in the house. Yes, absolutely. Your time to shine. ChatGPT can use variables. Oh yeah. And then shift enter to get the next line without submitting. Then on the new line variable, then hit the data. Yeah, absolutely. I'm coming for, you're bringing music to the chapter. There we go. Nice. You can join virtually as a guest of honor. I would love to. Hey, if you have a Mountain Finance Northern Alberta chapter, I will absolutely attend. Just give me an address to join and I'm there. Absolutely. That's kind of cool. All right. Got our next news story. Hopefully this doesn't make you all too heavy. Well, if you eat it all, maybe too hot, too high, or too hungry. There we go. Hungry is the word I was looking for. There, we'll pull that one down. So chocolate. So we are actually in the process of looking at the prices of chocolate going up, and this is not normal inflation. So we are looking at a couple of things. There is a record shortfall of cocoa production. Now, because of this shortage of cocoa, it actually pushed the all-time price, so the all-time high of cocoa, up to 6,400 USD per ton. That's pretty high. We are anticipating this year to see a pretty big shortage of cocoa. So they're looking at about a shortage of 375,000 pounds, or sorry, 1,000 tons, not pounds. That's a completely different thing. This is thought to actually be that this is thought that it's going to drive up the price of cocoa. Now, or the price of chocolate itself. Apparently, between last year and now, the price of chocolate's already up 11%. So chocolate's getting more expensive as it is. Now, this is also, and this is where it kind of comes in if you're an investor, a lot of chocolate companies are really feeling this. So, for example, Hershey's down in the States, their stock is down about 19% in the last year. And this is all part of this. Now, here's where the issue comes in. So, and I did not know this until I was researching this, but most cocoa actually comes from a small part of Africa. So, the Ivory Coast, Ghana, Cameroon, and Nigeria. That makes up for, and I thought Nigeria was just a country full of princes, but apparently they have cocoa there as well. But what's been causing the issue? One, El Nino. Some of the weather patterns have not been very favorable for cocoa trees. The other thing is that most of their current crop were planted about 25 years ago, and these crop are not doing very well. Some of these trees are in bad shape. Some of them have been getting diseased. So there could be no end to the increase in the price of chocolate. So chocolate has been cheap for a long time just because we did have a huge supply out of West Africa. But we're now getting to a point where we're going to start paying more for it until we find a solution. So there's a little interesting thing about chocolate. So, I don't know if we're going to, Vic is suggesting that we should cancel Easter or Halloween, but I don't think it'll get that far, but we're going to pay a little more for it. So let's see, what else does Vince have here? Then we can get our bicycles and ride Canada-wide and meet other chapters. Why would we do it by bicycle? Holy cow. Vic says Easter and Halloween canceled. Paul says Billy Idol is still touring and releasing new EPs on vinyl. Billy Idol is awesome. He had a good run in the 80s, and it was actually interesting. I watched a documentary on Billy Idol, and just from his persona in the 80s, when I actually found out all about him, I was like shocked. Like, for one, he doesn't smoke, and he doesn't do drugs, and you look at him and you're like, what? He looks like somebody who was in the scene, but he's very straight-laced, but the whole sneer and the rebel thing is all just his persona. But I was just like, wow, that's kind of an interesting thing. And another side note, I was flipping through the TV one day, and I came upon an episode of Sesame Street, and they had, no word of a lie, they had a Billy Idol Muppet singing the Rebel L. I was like, what? I watched it, and I was like, this is kind of cool in a weird way, but just something to keep in mind there. The Rebel L. Let's give away a membership, shall we? All right. We're slowly getting to the end here. All right. Let's drop this one here. Okay. It should drop here. There we go. Should drop in a second. I have it processed. Whew. All right. And our last little news section is of course the Crypto Corner. So, who won? Stan Gray won. There we go. Stan was in the house earlier. I don't know if you're still here, Stan, but you won. Congratulations. And we got, here we go. We got Patricia in the house as well, listening in. Congratulations, Stan. And hey, great to see you, Patricia. All right. So what do we got going on? So here's this interesting thing. Some of the crypto scammers have got a new scam thing going, and they're targeting dating apps. So basically what's happening is there's this new thing. It's called, and I actually saw a story on, what was his name? Craig Oliver? John Oliver. I was getting Craig Ferguson and John Oliver mixed up. Yeah, John Oliver had a big thing on it, but yeah, it is new. So there's this thing called, it's called pig butchering. I'm not sure why they call it exactly that. But basically what happens is the scammers, they fatten up their victims with compliments and empty promises on dating apps before going in for the slaughter. That's why they call it that. So in a nutshell, how it works is a lot of times they'll reach out to you. They, whether they do it on a dating app or sometimes they'll even do it outside of dating, but we'll stick to the dating apps. But they'll reach out and they'll just start talking to you. And they'll basically mold themselves to be your that perfect person that you're looking for. And they'll lead you along. And this is not a quick, get in, scam, you leave. This is a buildup. Like it could take a week, could take 2 weeks for them to get you there. Once they get you there, they will then come along and say, oh my God, I've just been making some money, some big crypto money with this app. And you're at this point, you're already trusting them and you feel like they're awesome people. And so they'll tell you about the app and they'll even refer you to it. And then when you go to the app and you're saying, oh gosh, and they're like, you should put some money into the app. You'll go in, you'll join up with the app, you'll put some money in, and all of a sudden the app will start telling you that you're winning, that you're gaining all of this gains. And then you'll put more money in. But when you come around to trying to take the money out of the app, and it's a crypto app, by the way, that's why it's a crypto scam, it won't let you. And at that point, the gig basically is up. You've been scammed. People have been losing incredible amounts about it. Now, a lot of the information I have comes from the US, but the FBI said that more than 40,000 people have been scammed that they know of. And they've been taken for about $3.5 billion. That's just crazy. So it's kind of interesting. So it is this weird app. Yeah, and it's usually and they keep changing the app, and that's why it's hard to sort of it's hard to defeat it. You can delete one app and they'll make a different one. Let's see here. More for Stan. Billy Idol's motorcycle accident straightened him out to go clean. Oh, there we go. Yeah, and Jackie's saying the pig butchering scam is huge. One is located in Dubai, 2 huge buildings with a large VPN tower. Scary. Oh yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, a lot of the people who are doing the scamming, so a lot of these fake people, a lot of them are actually there against their will. I mean, there's like this whole big slavery thing. Like a lot of these human slaves that happened in the slave market, a lot of them get bought up by these scam companies and forced into stuff like this. It's absolutely scary. So you got to be really, really careful out there. When it comes to scams. So, I mean, I know myself as a YouTuber, a lot of times I will get things that pop up in my comments. So, you get that person who pops up and says, oh my God, I made this amount of money thanks to John Miller. And then 5 or 6 other people all of a sudden are underneath saying, oh, John Miller, he helped me too. They're just trying to catch some of you guys to say, oh my God, look at this. This John Miller guy is making so much money. I'm going to reach out to them. Never, ever do it. Never, ever do it. It doesn't matter. Like if you're around YouTube, anything that happens in the comments, no matter whether it's my channel, whether it's, Brandon Beavis's channel or Harvey Hump Scruncher down the road's channel. The thing is, you have to be careful. Like I'm never going to reach out to any of you guys in chat and say, hey, I got a great opportunity. Just contact me over here on this WhatsApp. Never going to do it. If I ever had an opportunity, I would talk to you guys directly. You'd know it was me. Plus, keep in mind, when you see a reply in the comments, with the YouTuber, it looks a little bit different. They don't have like that same grayish thing that comes around. So it's probably, yeah. And this, I'm going to jump ahead. I'll catch up to the rest of you guys here in a second. What Joe said, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. So there are scammers out there. Be very, very careful. And I know somebody the other day reached out and said they got a friend request from me on something. And I was like, no, I didn't do it. So you want to be really, really, really careful. That's the way I look at it. And honestly, if I supposedly reach out to you and you're not 100% sure, come to one of my live streams. Ask me in the comments and I will tell you it wasn't me. I will gladly tell you it wasn't me because I do not want to see any of you guys ever, ever, ever get scammed, So that's kind of a big thing. And yeah, and Jackie says, why doesn't the App Store? So in some cases, from my understanding, a lot of the times people aren't even taken to an app store. They're just taken to a website where the app is there and it looks legit and everything, but it's not. So you have to be really, really, really careful. And one of the things too, if somebody sends you to even if you, let's say you've been talking for months to somebody and they send you to some app and say, oh, this is what I've been using. Um, you can always take the name of the app and go to Google and put the name of the app in it and then throw the word scam next to it and see what comes up. You'd be surprised. That's a great way to sometimes catch things, because sometimes if I get a phone number on my phone and I don't recognize it, every so often I will Google that phone number just to find out. And then I find out, oh, yeah, this is a scam for this and this. I'm like, yeah. But nowadays, I pretty much just ignore most phone numbers that come in unless it's like my mom. So let's see. And even then with my mom, I will still sometimes send her to voicemail because she has a habit of calling at the worst times possible. Kendall says, aren't dating sites in general created for scam artists? Maybe. I mean, I know that there have been people who have met, their, well, I don't want to, soulmate or their potential lover or whatever through these apps, but you just want to be careful. You want to be super, super careful. Let's see. They always use all three names. There we go. Thank you for the membership. Yeah, no, absolutely. No problem. And we already got there. All right, Jonathan. The scammers are big on Discord too. So yeah, absolutely. Same thing goes with Discord. And you can direct message me on Discord. I mean, if you guys are over there, feel free to use a direct message if you want to. I'm not, out of, when it comes to YouTubers, I know some people are kind of like, should I reach out to them directly? Is that like stepping over a line? It's not. Feel free. Direct message me. It's fine. I do not mind. I will, I interact. I'm very interactive over there, so definitely do that. Due diligence is a key. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Let's see here. Scammers don't take, scammers don't take break. They always find a new way to scam. They're always looking, because as soon as something fails, and as soon as everybody is onto it, they change it up. Exactly. Shaggy and Candace, it wasn't me. Exactly. Yeah, it wasn't me. What do we do? And Richard is in the house from Montreal. Hi, everyone should buy BTC ETFs. It's not a bad thing to have some exposure to it. If you look, I mean, right now, nothing can beat the returns that we're getting on these. So definitely. And Wahi Guru, there we go. It's funny. Gogo always, whenever Gogo likes one of my videos, I get the Wahi Guru on it, and I was like, first time I saw it, I'm like, huh? I don't know what that is. I had to Google it. I did. I Googled it, and then I found out that it was a compliment. I'm like, oh, okay. That was just a thank you kindly. So it's kind of cool. Can you tell me if Apple will ever hit 200? I think I don't know how soon, but I am very confident in Apple. One of the things with Apple right now is they have a lot of AI stuff going on behind the scenes. They're keeping themselves pretty close to the vest, but rumors are the next iPhone is going to have some crazy, crazy AI capabilities. And I think I think we're going to see some really good share price action long term on Apple. So, excuse me, will it hit 200? Eventually, it will. Absolutely. Ian says, I made a video about a tax strategy I want to try. I think if you click my name, it will take you there. Don't do it now, but maybe after the stream. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Ian, but that's fine. That's fine. All right. I actually have more crypto stuff. I actually have two in here right now. So MicroStrategies. Michael Saylor from MicroStrategy Well, he's been at it again. So they purchased another 3,000 Bitcoin. And right now, currently, their company holds about $11.7 billion worth of Bitcoin. And here's the interesting thing. So that's 193,000 Bitcoin they hold. They actually spent 6.09 billion on that Bitcoin. They have an average, so their adjusted cost base is $31,544. Now, Bitcoin, when I was actually preparing for this, Bitcoin was sitting at 61,000. Right now, Bitcoin is at $63,182. But basically, MicroStrategy, as a result, they have over 5 billion in unrealized profit because of their Bitcoin. Now, according to MicroStrategy, according to Michael Saylor, they're never going to sell any of this Bitcoin, and he'll keep adding it. But yeah, it's kind of huge. It's crazy right now. So just one of those things to keep in mind. All right, let's get down here to Ian. Made it for Kent at K4, but he has not checked it out yet. Oh, okay. Very cool. You know what, Ian? Why don't you? I think you can actually do. I don't know if you're on Discord or not, but if you're on Discord, if you want me to take a look at it, just send it to me over there on Discord, and I will definitely look at it because I'm kind of curious. It'd be kind of neat to see. Do you think Microsoft is a better stock as compared to Apple? Oh, this is kind of that funny thing. Now, I'm very pro Apple, so like everything I have is Apple. This you're watching this. The video right here is coming through an iPhone. I've got a Mac Studio. I've got a MacBook Pro, an iPad. The whole works. I'm very, very, very Apple, and I love their stock. I love them to death. I think that they're an incredibly good buy. But let's put that but in there. Microsoft right now has positioned themselves really well with OpenAI. That I think they're both really good. Like if I was sitting, let's say I was sitting there with $20,000. So if I had $20,000 and I was going to say, am I going to put this in Microsoft or Apple? I probably would split them, to be honest. I think probably would see more for my return in Microsoft initially. But like I said, Apple's got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. So I wouldn't count either of them out. I think they're both going to do fantastic, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. It's actually $249 now. It's it's gone up a little bit just since you said that. That's hilarious. I will try. I'm new to Discord. It's pretty darn easy. Okay. Paul says, I met my wife online chat 22 years. There we go. An online chat. That's awesome. And yeah, EQB earnings, EPS was a miss. So yeah, we did have a little bit of a miss there. All right. I'm going to get rid of, and there we go. Whoops. I hit the wrong button. That was not a good button to hit. There we go. I'm going to get rid of this. And I'm going to make me big again as we're coming towards the end. So if you guys still got any more questions, throw them in. We'll do this. Gogo says, we should all get together and make our own hedge fund. That would be fun. That would really, really be fun to sort of sit there and have millions and millions. Well, let's shoot for the moon. If we're sitting there with like $1 billion to invest, they'd all be clients. It wouldn't be our money, but it would still be so much fun. That would be kind of cool. That would be very, very, very cool. All right. So what do we got coming up on the channel this week? So the bank earnings reports came out. So we have our bank summary video on those earnings reports coming out on Tuesday. Then we got a deep dive again on Friday. So that's the one that's currently up for vote right now on the community tab. So be sure to jump over there, throw up a vote for that. We also have, on Wednesday, of course, we have the market close live stream. So we're going to do that and see what the market's doing. And those can be a lot of fun. So I definitely recommend, obviously if you're at work or something, you can't do it, but we're going to do that anyway. I think it will be awesome. Um, and then, of course, we'll be back here again next week. We'll do this here all over again. I do keep on both Discord as well as the Facebook group. I've got both going. I'm more active on Discord, but I do keep the Facebook group updated as well. I keep a schedule there so you guys can sort of see what is coming up. We do have, not this week, but I think next week is, I think it's going to be the channel members exclusive chat coming up as well. So I'll be reaching out soon to see what you guys want me to talk about on that one. So we got that coming as well. It's all exciting. And I'm also looking, and I don't have a date yet for this. I am looking to do a one special, sort of a one-time crypto. It's going to be a crypto-themed live stream. I'm going to bring some guests in for it. And the reason I don't have a date yet is because on the 18th of March, I'm going in for jury selection. So I have to sort of see how that all unravels and see if that kind of screws up the rest of my month or something. But we'll look at that. I know a couple people said I should just phone them and say I have mental issues. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't be dishonest like that. No, I'll go in. I mean, I'll do my best to get dismissed. But I will also, if I'm not dismissed, I will do my civic duty. That's for sure. All right. So Enid is a lady. Good to know. Good to know. We know this. Enid's awesome. Awesome. I mean, Enid once left me a message about her and her husband talking about what I think about some stocks over breakfast. That was like the best message I had that entire month. I was like, I love this. This is great. So it goes to say, sometimes when you leave a message and you want to go off about whatever, I'm great about it. It can actually make my day. So Ian says, I sent it to you on Discord. Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait to take a look. Jonathan says, I'll be terrified managing client money. That is the thing. There will be a lot of stress because, well, for one, if you don't do it right, you're going to lose clients very, very fast. The other thing too, though, is, there is a lot of regulatory certifications that you have to be able to do that. So we couldn't just, right now, I'm pretty sure, I know I'm not qualified to run a hedge fund, but it would be interesting. It would still be a lot of fun. Paul says, MicroStrategy stock being added to the S&P 500. Well, you know what? Here's the funny thing. Just from all of that Bitcoin, all of the Bitcoin on their balance sheet, their market cap is going up big time. So yeah, I would not be surprised before this bull run is over to see MicroStrategy in the S&P 500. I would not be surprised at all. Let's see. Do you think it is possible to make $2 million in stocks from 100,000? Yes. I don't think it's not super easy, but you got to keep in mind too. And this is one of these things that I think Charlie Munger used to be famous for saying that the first 100,000 is the hardest. Once you've got that first 100,000, things start, snowballing a bit more. So keep in mind now, if you had, now this is where time comes in hand. It comes into it. In 22 years, yeah, I can't see why you couldn't get to 2 million in 22 years if you already have 100,000 nest egg. You want to be smart about it, but at the same time, if you're making smart moves, the compounding, the snowballing can get really, really big. Now, for example, there are a lot of what are they, little simulators that you can use where you could put in your starting amount, so 100,000. You could put in the time frame and you could put in your respected return, and it will tell you exactly how much you should technically have. But as well, here's the thing, and I'm going to do this as well coming up on the 0 to 100K challenge. Is I'm going to look for opportunities. Like I will make some moves. Right now, we've been kind of building the foundation. That's mostly the first years, building the foundation. But we will certainly look. We'll certainly look at it along the way of how can I speed things up a little bit? What type of things can I do? What type of moves can I make? Because there are different moves you can make. So, for example, if you just sit, if you sit in the safe, in a very safe portfolio, you may be you'll make a little bit. You'll make a certain return, but you're not going to make the bigger returns. So some of these people who do make really big returns, what they do is, they're not always sitting in the stocks that have already, oh God, I need this. So they're not sitting in stocks that have already made all of their big moves. They're looking for those stocks that are getting ready to make their big moves. These are the people who are jumping into things like HPS.a before they exploded. And they're looking for those type of stocks, and they're moving a lot of money that way. So we're going to look, we're going to explore so much on that challenge. Like every episode, my goal is to have something that we're going to explore to sort of take us a little bit further. Now, the beautiful thing is somebody brand new who finds this channel in about 5 years from now, they're going to have this big playlist of these that they can just go through and they can soak up so much from it as we move to that point. Right now, it's kind of like, okay, all right, I got that episode done. I want the next one, but you got to wait a month, and it's kind of funny that way. But we're going to get there. I think it's going to be really, really interesting. All right. Ian said 100,000 a long time ago, more like 250,000 now. Well, maybe, but no, 100,000, I think you still get a pretty good amount of the snowball action on it. So, and we're going to look as we get, by the time we get to the summer, we're going to have enough data that I can actually start demonstrating what that snowball looks like. And I think that's going to be really, really cool. All right. And Paul says, what is the ticker for MicroStrategy? And here it is, MSTR. So yeah, it's interesting. During the last all-time highs for Bitcoin back in November of 2021, I actually did do a little bit of swinging on MicroStrategy, but now you got to have a lot of money to swing them at this point, because they're pretty expensive. Do you think it is possible we can replicate what Reddit group did with what happened with GameStop? So you're talking about Wall Street bets. I don't think we have enough people in this community to replicate that, to be honest. You need Wall Street bets. They had Elon Musk was kind of promoted them as well. So they had a lot of people involved in that Reddit group. And we also were at a point where nobody thought that could happen. So institutional wise, so when they started doing when they started buying and basically squeezing out these short sales, is actually incredible. But the problem is with something like that, is a move like that, it's really easy to be on the wrong end of it. So once it's already started happening, it's pretty much too late to get involved. You need to be kind of in the know to get in nice and early, because you're going to get in early and you're going to get out early. Before you get to a point where all of a sudden you have people like Robinhood suspending trading and making it hard to get out. And even now, the size that they had for that one, I don't think we'll ever see it replicate like that again. They might try again, but we definitely don't have enough money. Prairie wants to know thoughts on movements from ENG and HMM.a this week. So yeah, there was corrections all the way around, and I think you take HMM.a. I've been expecting a correction for a while. Actually, once they moved into the $12 range, I was expecting a correction then, and they made it up to 13. They almost made it to 14, but that's been that area where they couldn't get past. So yeah, I think it's more or less, I'm still very bullish on HMM.a. And this correction, if anything, it gives a good opportunity for some people to get in while it's down a little bit. But both ENGH and HMM.a, I'm pretty bullish on both of them. I think everything looks good for them long term. So I wouldn't worry too much. If you're not already maxed though, for me, I try not to have more than 5% in any one stock. So if I was at, for example, 5% in HMM.a, I probably wouldn't add during something like this. But if I had been looking to get myself back up to the 5%, that could be an opportunity. Ian says, guy I worked with lost a lot with GameStop, trying to get on the bandwagon. And that's what happened. A lot of people got in. They heard about it happening. And once you've heard about it happening and it's on the news that it's happening, it's too late. All you're doing is throwing away money at that point. But if you know, like if you were in, if you had been in part of that Reddit group and knew ahead of time that it was going to happen, you could have you could have then got in and got out and made a ton of money as it was starting to fly up. Now I did make on one of these, I did make some money, and that was because of um, I happened to be already in on Weed MD at one point. I didn't have a sizable position, but I had a half decent little position in it. And then, of course, it kind of faltered and it didn't really go anywhere because the whole legalization of Weed MD or Weed MD of weed and things like that. We thought, everybody thought it was going to do better, but it didn't. But then Wall Street bets came along and they picked Weed MD as one of the ones they were pumping. And I just happened to be there when it happened. I watched it happening and I'm like, okay, it's happening. And I got out. And the funny thing is, I got out while it looked like it was still flying up. And it turns out that mere seconds after I got out, it did its loop and it went right back down. I got out of the top. I made a profit on it. I was happy about it. I was like, there we go. Weed has paid me and I'm great. And I was happy. It was fantastic. So just one of those things to keep in mind. Perlovia says, did any of you get in on MRE on Friday at 11:50? I did not. Do you think stocks are better than real estate if the primary goal is to make money? I think so. I would say, in my opinion, yes, but you also have to look at it, depends on the market, right? Like if you got in on real estate before everything went crazy in Canada, you probably could have made a lot more money on real estate. But I think right now things are pretty saturated. And I think most real estate, I don't think we're going to see a lot of jumping up from here. We might see things pull back a little bit. But that's, for me, that would mean stocks are probably a better investment at this point. Let's see, just wondering if both are going to continue correcting or start going up again. That's a good question. I don't think they're going to go down a lot more. So I would see probably some more, you might see some flat movement and then hopefully rebound, but we'll have to take a look and watch. It's kind of one of these interesting things, like how far is something going to correct? Let's see, Paul says, my HMM.a cancels out my HPS.a gain. So yes, HPS actually did better. They were kind of moving in the opposite directions during the week, but once again, I have full faith in HMM.a. I mean, I have faith in both of these companies. They are, they're both owned by the same people, even though they're separate companies. So Ian says, all the stocks I buy, I would still do better with an ETF. I'm not beating the TSX. Yeah, it's one of these things that a lot of people get into a position where they handle their stocks too much. What I mean by that is if you're constantly in there, always tinkering with your stocks, buying and selling, a lot of times you end up losing some of the opportunity. But, you can get, for example, some people, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to get this one ETF. So maybe it's a VFV, for example. And you can do okay. You can do okay for sure. You have to kind of, and this is the thing, and a lot of it is education, sort of watching the market, figuring out what's going on. So take, for example, people who got into NVIDIA before all of this AI stuff happened, they've made a lot of money. But you also have to keep in mind, too, that NVIDIA is not going to go up forever. I mean, they're going to go up, but their speed is going to decrease. So you have to keep all of that in focus when you're looking at different stocks. For some people, an ETF does tend to do better, only because you've got a manager on that ETF who's doing all of the work for you and you're not doing it yourself. So you have to look at it that way. And plus, all it takes is a couple of good trades and you can be in a situation where it's like, oh yeah, I'm beating that TSX. But sometimes, and keep in mind, this year, it hasn't been that hard to beat the TSX. The TSX hasn't done that great. Nothing compared to, like, the S&P 500 has completely owned the TSX this year. Well, yeah, absolutely. So this is the other side too. When you are dealing with real estate, you're often looking at tenants and dealing with that. Now you can get like a rental company to deal with most of that for you, but then you you basically are eating into your profits at that point. Paul says, so far I'm beating the TSX. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I know the challenge is beating the TSX as well. Ian says, biggest mistake on a stock, one that you believed in and lost big time. Can you think of one? I'm just trying to think of one that well, if we look at the challenge, Alva Petro has been doing just absolutely dreadful. So that's kind of, I look at them as being a little bit of a mistake. I mean, I still like them though overall, but I'm trying to think if there's any really big one. I've had some bad swings before. I think with Air Canada at one point, I had a couple of bad swings, but nothing that really sticks out as something that's like I've never invested in a stock that hasn't recovered. I'll put it that way. Paul says, sell HBS to buy more HMM.a. That's a hard one to do because I mean, like I said, I like both of these. I think they're both going up. When I look at the track record of HPS.a, I'd be hesitant. I'd be hesitant because, even last year when I looked at them a year ago, I thought that they were mostly through their big giant surge, and they proved me wrong. And they surged big time through the year. I still liked them. And it's kind of the same thing with HMM.a. If anything, I would try to find a stinker in your portfolio if you wanted to stock up on more HMM.a. Ian says, I chase dividends. I want to replace my working income with dividends, so I tend to buy individual stocks. Okay, now here's the thing, Ian. When you say that you're not beating the TSX, if you're looking at a lot of high covered call dividend stocks, then that does make sense that you're not beating the TSX. Now, keep in mind, you also want to look at it from a total returns perspective. So you want to count those dividends as well when you're looking at the TSX. But a lot of times, if you are looking straight up for income, you may not beat the market. That's just part of the reality of it. But in retirement, sometimes that what's more important is having that income because it makes your life a lot easier, opposed to beating the market per se. Let's see. Jackie says, I believed in RIM. Yes. Yes, good old RIM. Back in the day, lost a bundle. I think a lot of people did. Absolutely. And I'm trying to think here. RIM. I'm trying to remember what the R stands for. I know the I is in, and then M is motion, in motion, something in motion. So I can't remember what the R is. Oh dear. If any of you know what the R is, let me know because it's going to bug me now. Let's see. I'm losing a $1,300 on Squire blockchain. Will it come back to 200 USD? This I don't know. I don't have any information on Squire blockchain, so I don't know that answer for you, unfortunately. Let's see. Thanks, Paul. Let's see. I'm on month 15 in stock investing and haven't sold a thing, even challenging myself to sell money stacked in PSA to move into opportunities. Okay, that's good. So Prairie has diamond hands pretty much. And sometimes, and that's the thing, Warren Buffett, I think it was Warren Buffett that said that investing is like soap. The more you handle it, the less you have. So that is something to keep. There we are. Research in motion. There we are. Research. Yes. All right. Bleak is back again. Hey. Hi, Bleak. It is good to see you. Ian says, I can't really tell if I'm beating the TSX because I add new money regularly. Hard to calculate the true growth. Hard to figure out annual growth. That is why good record keeping can really make the difference, because sometimes you can really get caught up. And if you're not paying attention to what you're adding and what you're subtracting and all of the moves that you're making, it can make it a little bit difficult to realize if you actually are in profit. Or sometimes you could be, if you're making a lot of bad moves, you could be not in profit. You could be, losing money without even realizing it when you're not record keeping. So record keeping is definitely huge. Andrew, do you prefer Loblaws, L, or George Weston? So WN. That's, I think right now, probably Loblaws. Um, but yeah, no, WN is also really, really good. All right. Let me see here. Paul says, Ian, I use Blossom to compare performance versus TSX. Not totally accurate, as Blossom assumes you say owned your current stocks for the last year. True. Now they are working behind the scenes on Blossom to get that to be a little bit better. So there's a lot of work, like, because where Blossom is so new, there's still a lot of work to do behind the scenes on that. And that was kind of the meeting I had with Brandon Beavis and a few others on Monday. We're looking at different things from behind the scenes and things planned for the app. Like, I'll tell you what, I'll give you guys a hint of something they're planning. Direct messaging in the app. So that's something that's coming as well. I don't have a time frame on it though. Let's see. Yeah, research in motion. Mr. Math is the GOAT. Yeah, absolutely. I love Mr. Math. I'm starting to look now at the merchandise and swag. So I was thinking, yeah, there has to be a Mr. Math shirt. So, that's one of those things I'm sort of looking at. Guys, get your final questions in right now, because we are coming up towards the end. We've actually hit 2 hours. Holy banana bread. Yeah, research in motion. Absolutely. Now, I'm going to drop the last of the memberships for the day. So let's do that here. All right. And this way here. All right. Well, we'll be nice here. We're going to drop a couple here. And that way there, while you guys get your thing together, we'll see who wins. And, until next month, right? Let's see here. Come on. Let's give me some names. All right. Bleak won. Chad won. Amanda won. Paul won. And good old Tim Carroll. There we go. There we go. I love this. This is like my favorite stream, is that first one, because I get to drop these memberships, and that's always a fun. So yeah, a huge congrats to everybody who won. Thank you guys for being here. This has been a fantastic stream. I've had a lot of fun. We will, of course, see some of you on our market close on Wednesday. We'll be back here again next week. Let's all be back here, and we'll have a fantastic day. You guys are awesome. So until then, everybody, take care. We will see you guys all later. This has been absolutely fantastic. One of the best streams we've ever had. All right. Bye, everybody. Take care.